Welcome back, friends. Thank you for being here. In today's video, we're going to be talking all about thrifted and vintage spring decor. I really wanted to share some ideas of some pieces that you can look for at the thrift store to add in for spring that are not only super affordable, but they also add in beautiful touches of spring that just add lots of unique character into your home and brighten it up for spring. So I hope that this can inspire you with some ideas and ways that you can add in some of these pieces to your own homes. I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite pieces that I've collected over the years for spring, and then I'm also going to be sharing how I like to decorate with them and ways that I use them in our home. I'm also going to share in this video all the places I love to shop, so stay tuned until the very end because I'm going to include a whole list of all of my favorite places I love to thrift, and maybe hopefully you can find some places like this that are in your area. Let's start out with vintage gardening books. So whether it is about vegetable gardening, herb gardening, flower gardening, house plants, all of these topics make me think of spring. So those are the type of books I really love to thrift for. I'm going to share some of the books that I have collected, and some of these I'm just going to briefly show you them so that you can see the title and the covers of them in case you're interested in looking for any of these. And then a few of them I'm going to share a little bit more in detail of why I love them and how I use them. Now, when it comes to looking for vintage books, the first place I always suggest is yard sales and estate sales. If you can get out and go to some of those in the early spring and summer, that is always where I tend to find the best prices on books. And then of course, always skim through the books when you're at Goodwill, Salvation Army, and those type of thrift stores as well. You can get them for like $1 or a few dollars each. But let's get started with some of my favorites. I will start out with this big one here. This is America's Garden Book, and this was sent to me by a sweet subscriber named Samantha. And Samantha, if you're watching this, thank you again. She sent this to me last year, and it has just became one of probably my all-time favorite garden book. I feel like it is just the most classic, beautiful garden book. Not only is it gorgeous, it's also filled with so much good knowledge. And I mentioned this in a previous video, but I feel like it's really important, especially if you love gardening and you're passionate about growing things and learning about gardening. It's really important to have a good physical copy like this on your shelf. So definitely try to find one like this if you can to add to your garden book collection. I also wanted to mention thriftbooks.com. I have never personally purchased anything from Thrift Books, but I've had a lot of you tell me about them. I'm pretty sure you can just type in the title of any book into the search and you can search it up and see if they have it on their site, and you can get it for a lot more affordable than like on Amazon and places like that. It's basically a thrift website for books, so definitely check that out because any of these that I show today, I'm sure you can probably type in their search bar and maybe find them on there, so definitely keep that in mind. And this one, actually, the reason that I wanted to show this one is because it has an entire section that is focused on the spring garden. So it tells you what plants to grow in your spring garden, how to take care of it, and just a lot of really good info. So if that might be something that you were interested in, again, if you do love gardening. And then of course it's again beautiful to display in a little vignette. The last one I have to share is Betty Crocker's Kitchen Gardens, and I wanted to include this one because I read this last year and I feel like it is just so amazing. Again, I know I keep saying it, but filled with so much good knowledge, and it has every single herb and plant that you should have in a kitchen garden to cook with. It tells you how to cook with them, how to use them in your kitchen, and not only that, but it also has beautiful illustrations. You can prop this up somewhere and leave it open if you want to see the inside, or of course you can just display the cover. But some of the images are in color, some of them are in black and white. It is just such a sweet book. I love this. It says, "A little garden in which to walk." So sweet. I love this one. I also really wanted to include a clip of these Beatrix Potter books that I found last year, and this will be my first spring having them because I found them around like August and September of last year, and I think these are just so precious to use in your spring decor. I love the Tale of Peter Rabbit, and I think it would just be a dream to have like a Peter Rabbit nursery one day, so I kind of envisioned having like these to save for that special time, but then also to use right now for spring decor. So I thought that I would include these if you can find some Peter Rabbit books. I think these children's books are just so precious to decorate with for spring. And then I thought I would share a few more clips of where else I like to use books at throughout the house and how I have them displayed in some other areas. I really like to group kind of like those blues and greens together and those really pretty spring colors and just layer the books up to make it feel super cozy. I have some in the kitchen, I have some on our bookcase of course, and then some on like the coffee table and the side table in the living room. Those are just a few of the areas that I like to display them in. The next items I love to thrift for are baskets. I love using woven baskets for decorating. I feel like it just really brings in that homey and cozy feel, especially for spring. I love to use them, of course, outside and in the garden, but then I also love to display them and have them as decorations throughout the house. I especially love picnic baskets this time of year. For some reason, spring just makes me think of picnics and picnic baskets. I found this one at Barren Consignment for $9.99 recently. I've already shared it in a video once, but I just love this beautiful like red gingham lining, and then it also is coated in plastic so that way it's like easy to wipe out. And it has the little spots for your utensils. I think it is so precious. So you can not only create a beautiful little vignette with it, but then you can also put it to good use. You can take it to the lake or camping or just for a little picnic in your backyard. I think is super fun and something that I just think is super useful. And then, like I said, also really decorative. So definitely look for baskets. I feel like that's probably one of the most affordable things that you'll be able to find easily out of all the things I'm going to share, because baskets are just something that I feel like usually are covering the thrift store for really cheap. So definitely look for baskets. Kind of going along with baskets, also don't forget to look for straw hats and straw bags. I think they are so fun, especially during spring and summer. I really love to bring these out just to add to the entryway, the dining room, even some in our bedroom. I love to hang those straw hats just off of peg rails, and then if you have a straw bag or a straw purse, you can put florals in them, and I just think they're so cozy for spring. The next category of items I love to collect for spring is floral dishes. I love to collect dishes year-round, but especially with spring coming up, I really have my eye on florals. So these are a few of the ones that I have picked up in the past that I like to use like in the dining room and display in my hutch and things like that. And then I also have a few like little teacups that have flowers on them. They just, again, not only add in that color, but also that really soft, sweet, charming spring feel. Here's a look at how I've started to style some of the dishes I've collected for spring, and stay tuned because in an upcoming video I'm going to be sharing all about that new hutch that's in the living room, and then we're also going to be decorating it together and decorating the rest of the living room for spring, so stay tuned to see all of that. It's coming really soon. Also remember to keep an eye out for floral mugs. All of these here are from Goodwill, except for the one in the back with the blue. That one I found at a yard sale like 2 years ago, and it's still one of my favorite spring mugs. So look for mugs with florals on them or anything spring related. I think they're just so fun to have and beautiful to collect to use for spring. And I love to drink out of these in the morning, and then I also love to display them like at the coffee station and stuff like that, so they're also really fun to decorate with. Another item I absolutely love to thrift for is all of my flower pots and planters. I love to find them at Goodwill or at thrift stores because I feel like that is something that can be so expensive, especially if you're planting a lot of flowers and herbs this time of year. Flower pots can be so expensive when you buy them brand new, and I also love, not only can you save money, but I feel like thrifted ones also often have a lot more character depending on how old they are, and they just add like a really nice uniqueness to your potted plants, and I think they're so pretty to decorate with. So all of these here I found for $1.99, except for the big one in the back was $3 at Salvation Army. The other ones were from Goodwill, and I added some little flowers in them for spring, and then a big rosemary plant. You can also look for big crocks and pieces like that that aren't necessarily flower pots, but you can use them as planters and plant your flowers and things in them. I love looking for like enamel pots and cool things like that. That also adds in a lot of character to your plants. I also love to look for vases. Not only do I like to use like ironstone pitchers and things to hold flowers, but I also love putting fresh flowers in unique vases. We found this McCoy vase at the Goodwill recently, and I just think it adds such a pretty touch to these fresh flowers and really pulls in that vintage feel. And then also don't forget to look for watering cans, because that's another thing you can find to save a lot of money on if you buy them thrifted. This next category could definitely go for any season, but I love to look for colored glass for spring and summer. I feel like it is just such a really good, like, easy way to add in that pop of color. I love dishes. Y'all know I love to collect dishes, so looking for these colored pieces, again, adding that pop of color, and they're also just so easy to display. You can do so many different things with them. I found these beautiful green depression glass plates at the thrift store last year, and I just love to use these like under my potted plants to add that beautiful shade of green. I love to add in greens for spring and summer, and so I feel like that is just a really easy and affordable way to add in that pop. These plates I remember were like $2.99 I think for the whole set of 3 at Barren River Consignment, which is one of my favorite places to look for pieces. So definitely be on the hunt for this. Okay, now I'm going to talk about all the places that I love to shop at and to look for these type of pieces at. So we've already talked about a lot. Yard sales, even estate sales is something that I love to do. Go into like those old historic homes, or a lot of times old farms around here will have huge estate sales, and you can just find some of the best treasures at homes like that. So that is something I highly recommend doing if you can find out where any are in your area. Definitely let that be like one of your first places that you look. And I feel like it's super important too, for those of us who really like appreciate those old things, to go to the sales like that and be able to get those pieces to bring into our own homes, to give them a new life again, because it is often sad when you go to an estate sale or something like that, or a huge yard sale where they're having to clean out the entire home because someone has passed or something like that. I feel like it's really important to go to sales like that to not only help support the families during that time, but then you can also find those good treasures and save them, and give them a new life in your home. So definitely don't forget to go to places like that. And I also really love supporting all of the small local thrift shops. We have some of the best in our area, and I'm so thankful for them, and I've loved like getting to know a lot of the owners, and after visiting their shops so frequently, just really forming like a connection with them, and you can really bond with them by like, they love vintage and old things because that is what they focus on, that is their business, and then you love collecting those things, so you can really bond with them over that and talk about the pieces, and just really form a connection. I feel like that is just something so special. You can find people that are like-minded who also really love and appreciate those old treasures. So that is something I love so much. And then again, I have talked about this already, but of course Goodwill and Salvation Army and a little bit of like bigger name thrift stores like that, I do love to check out often, because you just never know what you're going to find. And I always like to make sure to include that, because I feel like that's something a little bit more wide known, that people know of, that they might have in their area. And then I also really wanted to include this map that I have here. This is a map of all 18 of the Peddlers Mall locations. I just picked this up at the counter of one of our local Peddlers malls. They had these up there that you could grab, and I was like, I need to grab that and share it in a video, because I think it'll be super helpful, because you all always ask me what a Peddlers Mall is and where they're located. So here is a map to all 18 Peddlers Malls, and I think that there is, let's see, Ohio, Clarksville, Indiana, Huntington, West Virginia. There are so many in Kentucky. Let's see, you have Campbellsville, Elizabethtown, Frankfort, Georgetown, Hillview. There's one in Somerset. There's one in Winchester. There's one on Outer Loop. There are so many peddlers malls located around here. So if you are in Kentucky or if you're in Ohio or West Virginia, I thought this could be helpful. Again, I'm going to include a little close-up of it so that you can see. These are a look at some really good places that you can check out to, again, shop those booths and support those local booth owners. And then I also wanted to give you some names of a few of the local places. Also, if you have never checked out Vendors Village, that's another really good one. The Leitchfield Peddler. Check out Glendale if you are also kind of located in this area, because they have such really good antique shops, and a lot of times you can find really affordable items in there if there's something that you are looking for. I know we're mainly talking thrifted here, and finding really good deals on pieces, but also don't forget to check out those little small shop antique stores too, because a lot of times you can find some that are really affordable and they're also just beautiful to walk through. So definitely check out those type of places like that too if you can. I've talked about this already, but Barren River Consignment, the Junkin Gypsy, y'all have heard me talk about her shop. Shabby Chick Marketplace, that is another one that is kind of set up like a peddler's mall where there's different booths, and it is just an amazing place to go and just take it all in. It's just a beautiful shop, and it's going to really inspire you and like give you ideas of ways that you can use those pieces. And then you can also find really good deals from some of her vendors and people who set up there at her shop. And then you can also check out A Walk Through Time, another amazing antique store. Vette City, which is another huge like peddler's mall type of place. Grandma's Attic. Those are just a few, and that's just really scratching the surface. Some of my favorite places. I will try to link all of their addresses down below too, so that you can find them if you are local and want to shop there. And that way you can also have some ideas of the type of places that you can look up to see if you have in your area. So I hope that this is helpful, because this is just one of the top things that I'm always asked is, where do I find these stores? How do I find them? So I hope that this can kind of just be a video you can refer back to. Okay, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing pieces that I love to thrift for this time of year, to add in for spring. And please let me know in the comments below, what else do you love to thrift for spring? I would love to share lots of comments to help everybody out down there of things that you love to thrift for. Definitely let us know. I'm sure there are so many other things out there that would be beautiful to add in that you can find for really affordable thrifted. So definitely let us know any of your ideas. Also stay tuned, because I'm going to be sharing lots more spring touches soon and adding in more things for spring. So I'm going to do a spring decorate with me. I have some new furniture updates to share of pieces that I've refinished and that my husband has refinished, and we have been kind of making a few updates in here, so I'm excited to share that soon. Make sure you subscribe so you won't miss that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time.